They called him the Diesel.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go.
He leaned across the table and he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
And to Riggins, good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.
It's Riggo, the Diesel.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Riggo the Diesel. I can't believe I couldn't remember my show the other day on the pregame.
You did. You had it. You
I just went
a
up
little bit. Yeah.
It kind of scares me from time to time, Larry. But anyway, Larry Michael, your host, or not host, but he's the voice of the Washington Redskins. This is the 51st Riggo the Diesel episode.
Wow.
And
past the half-century mark.
I guess so. Yeah, we have. Speaking of centuries, 100-year anniversary of football. It's going well for the NFL, I'm sure. Season not so well for our Washington Redskins, and we find ourselves at that place, Larry, where there's a little break in the action. They're on a bye, or they're on a week, on a bye week, and so they've got. I guess they're going to get some time off. I don't. Do you happen to know what the protocol is?
I know the schedule.
Oh, good.
The team will have a practice on Wednesday in shells, which are those pseudo pads that they wear. No heavy lifting, and then they're off. They're off for 4 days. Back with practice on Monday. This is the longest break they've had since reporting to training camp at the end of July. They had a lengthy weekend after coming back from Minnesota, the Thursday night game, but they were back on Monday. So 4 days off. Some of the guys are going to stay home with their families here in Northern Virginia. Some of the guys, the Alabama gang, is going down to Alabama as the Crimson Tide takes on LSU, big college football game.
Sure.
And Ryan Anderson told me something really interesting. I said, "You going down?" He goes, "All of us are going." And I said, "Why?"
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. How many?
He says, "All of us are going." And he says, "You know what's weird? We probably won't see each other until we're on the sideline before the game." So what do you mean? He goes, "You go back there, it's like going home to family. Everybody has their own thing, their own people, their own place they want to go to. So they're not going to hang out, really."
Well, I can see that.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
And they're different vintages, too. I mean, everybody that's on a team, I don't know. Maybe they were. Were they all at one point in time? They all crossed paths on an Alabama team, or no?
Well, Landon Collins, obviously
Pretty
the
close.
oldest one of the bunch, and I think he probably was leading
Senior
as
freshman type
yeah,
deal?
something like that. But it just goes to show you, that rivalry, that Alabama-LSU rivalry, poor Geis, he's all by himself. You got about 7 Alabama guys here, and you got 1 LSU guy in Geis who's trying to wave that purple and gold flag, but he's 1 against 8. Or 7.
Is he going down to the game, or have you heard?
I don't know. I saw Geis was at the Wizards game. See that picture of him at the Wizards game? So he just likes to, and that's a topic of football discussion too. And I want to bring this up to you. Geis is scheduled to come back off the IR. He's beginning to practice. He's out there a little bit, and he could return. Do you bring him back, knowing he's had back-to-back knee injuries over the last 2 years? I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent. Would you bring him back?
Oh, yeah. I think so, Larry. And the reason I say that, once again, I mean, obviously, only if he's 100%. If he's not going to get any more healthy, and he's where, his rehabilitation is at its end, of course, I mean, when I say of course, like I know what I'm talking about. But my opinion would be to definitely bring him back, because he's not unlike Haskins in a way, even more so. He didn't play at all last year. He played a little bit this year, and you kind of got a mix. I mean, a little bit in a preseason game, looked pretty good in the preseason game. Regular season game, so-so, nothing outstanding. So I think not only that, but from his perspective, I would think that, and he's one of those guys that I think, carries a lot of stuff inside. And he made a comment here, way back before the season started, that he didn't have anything to prove. And, that's kind of a naive outlook on things. Realistically, we all know that, because ultimately, you do have quite a bit to prove.
Well, he's a rookie still, I mean, didn't play his rookie year. So.
Exactly. And you got a bunch of people, you start with your personnel people looking at, okay, kid, we draft you number 2, and people saying you could have been higher. We got a deal, so show us why that you should have been higher. So far, he hadn't been able to do that. So I'm thinking from his perspective that, and he's going to, that all the trouble that he's reached or had in his beginning of his professional career that he wants to overcome, for sure now would be the time, I think, to bring him back if he's 100% healthy.
So that is a weapon that might be added to Dwayne Haskins Jr.'s arsenal, which is missing some tools, I think.
Oh, clearly. And this is what's great. I don't forget who I was talking to the other day about this. But if you look at this, of course, they need a little bit more. But based on the way the season is going right now, I believe they're slotted as the second team to pick in the draft of 2020. I believe they're Cincinnati's ahead, and then I think Washington, and then maybe Miami. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. T-Cat says I am correct on that. And so you're going to get, right now, if things don't change, you're going to get a high draft pick. So I think, with Dwayne Haskins and his the what do you want to call it, tools or weapons that he has around him, if you look at his, let's just say Geis comes back and, all of a sudden you're going, hey, this guy is the real deal. You've got a guy in Terry McLaurin that you already pretty doggone comfortable this guy's going to have a nice career in the NFL. He is. He's your go-to guy as a rookie right out of the blocks. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And now you've got a number 1 round pick in, Dwayne Haskins, and he looked fine up in Buffalo, I thought. Of course he could play better, but he doesn't have any experience. He needs to play more. That's why I think it's incumbent that he plays more for the rest of the season, to forget about starting somebody else. I think he has to be your guy. But where I'm going with this is, there you have 3 potential big-time playmakers, and if you're not mistaken, isn't that kind of what people always feel like? Dallas had a lot of success with 3, a receiver, a running back, and a quarterback.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, there's reason for optimism, even though you're 1-8, but unfortunately, it's for next year.
Yeah, it's kind of tough looking ahead that far. Riggo the
Yeah,
Diesel is brought to you by ARS Rescue Rooter of Maryland. And coming up a little bit later, we're going to talk about Dwayne Haskins Jr. And T-Cat's got a great format for us today. He's got the NFC East all broken down for us. But a couple of reminders first. In honor of Salute to Service Month, the Redskins Salute inviting service members and veterans to enter the 2019 Grounds Crew Sweepstakes presented by Pepsi. Visit redskins.com/Grounds Crew for a chance to be named an honorary Grounds Crew member for the Salute to Service game on November 17th. Now, that might be interesting if they have to put the tarp up. If you're a member of the Grounds Crew,
Right.
you might have to actually roll that tarp up.
Possible.
That's not easy work.
No, I wouldn't want to be in on that.
So what you got, John?
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I got an interesting story to tell you as we talk about O'Connor Plumbing, which I've been talking about now for the past 3 or 4 years, 1833 Riggo 44. That it's interesting. Yesterday, I had some people installing a cabinet in a bathroom that was stubbed out with PVC. Next thing I hear is somebody's yelling, John, water.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And I did the old, it's funny too, Larry, because I've been a little bit gimped up lately, but anytime, I don't know, maybe that's just the way it is, that's the way I operate, but when there's a situation, my adrenaline comes out real quick.
Well, track star
I was
come up,
up like a shot, down the steps, got in there, and of course, under duress, I've got about 15 shutoff valves in my control room.
You don't know which one?
And I'm just starting to turn valves off one after another. And finally I go, because I didn't have my glasses on and this thing was blended into the pipe that comes out. Finally I got it off. And it wasn't, it maybe ran for, 20 or 30 to 45 seconds. The reason I'm telling you this story is, what was going to happen next? My pipe was broke. I had no place to go with this. I did have a place to go with it. I pick up my phone. I call Fred from O'Connor Plumbing. And Fred shows up within about an hour, which, if you got an emergency, call O'Connor Plumbing, because I was looking at and just kind of figuring that I'm going to go without water for the rest of the day. Maybe we have to go to a hotel. We didn't have to do that. O'Connor Plumbing came in, saved the day. 1833 Riggo 44. They're open 8 to 8. No overtime charges during the week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 on Saturday afternoons. No overtime. And remember one thing though: put the kryptonite away when O'Connor shows up, because you'll make all the plumbers sick. They are Supermen.
That's a great story, and that's
a true story.
First-hand recommendation from John Riggins right there.
Yep.
And did the water kind of mess anything up, or did you have to call somebody to vacuum up the water? It was contained.
I'm the guy that's remediating the damage. It wasn't that bad, so I'm down there. I called a remediator this morning. They said they'd come out for $250. I said, I got this. I'll be good with it.
All right, join the Redskins and youth entrepreneurs during the Global Entrepreneurship Week as former MVP Mark Mosley shares his entrepreneurial journey at 1 Million Cups on Thursday, November 20th at the George Washington University School of Business at the Marvin Center. From football to Five Guys, you won't want to miss hearing about Mr. Automatic Mark Mosley's story, why he's so excited to support youth entrepreneurs in expanding their unique and transformative educational program in schools across the D.C. metro area. To learn more about bringing youth entrepreneurs engaging hands-on learning to your classroom now. Visit y-e.org. Now, does Mosley eat a lot of the Five Guys hamburgers and fries?
Does he eat a lot of it?
Does he eat?
Doesn't look like it. Not that they're
does look
necessarily
like it.
fattening food. I'll tell you something about this that stuns me.
Good stuff.
And I think Mark was there at the very beginning of all this stuff. I was over in Milan this year, Italy. What do you think I see right there in the middle, down there by the Duomo? That's this huge attraction for
Five
tourists.
Guys?
Five Guys
In
Milan,
Italy?
Italy. Yeah,
Wow.
so, next time I see Mose, he'll have a little thin, wispy mustache, and he'll have a little bit of an accent.
I
maybe.
guess the question I got would be, do they serve wine at the Five Guys in Milan?
I'll bet they might. I bet if they can, I'm sure they do.
They got to. They got to. It probably goes well together. What would you recommend with a Five Guys burger in terms of wine?
Well, I've never had a Five Guys burger, but if I were to have one, I would. You got to go with some kind of a Chianti, maybe, or if you want to go, there's high
Cab,
end,
maybe a cab,
or a Barolo, or the
Brunello
de Montalcino. Excellent.
Barbaresco is pretty good too. Italian wine.
Yep.
We could talk about wine all day.
As if I know anything about it. I know this much about wine, Larry, is that if you give me a $20 bottle of red wine, and I'm going, yeah, that's pretty good. If I go, you give me a $50 bottle of good, I go, oh, yeah, and you give me a $100 bottle, I kind of go, I think the 20, because I'm not that guy. Give me the $20 bottle.
Save the 80, but you could
say it's perfume on a pig once you give me too good of high class stuff. I'm not used to it.
But I think get 5 times the wine that way.
What's that?
5 times the wine. If you get 5 $20 bottles, you'd have 5 bottles of wine.
And that's kind of the way I look at it, Larry.
Yeah, volume.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how long will that buzz last? Not very long with one bottle.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand back and watch the Phoenix rise from the ashes.
Stand back. It's Riggo the Diesel.
Welcome back, and we were just taking a look at some of the things that the team is going to be doing in this off-season, or not off-season, this bye week. It'll seem like an off-season in a weird sort of way.
It's a weird year, man. The bye came late.
It did.
And the team is 1-8. Team hadn't scored a touchdown in over 3 games. So
you said Miami game, right?
Yeah. Have you ever experienced in your playing career a drought like this?
I don't
Anything
recall
you compare it to?
I don't recall. Nothing because I think that this is most of the guys that are on the team. I would think, particularly on offense, I think that it'll be something memorable. If you say 20 or 30 years, my point being is I think I'd have remembered it,
right?
Because they're going to recall the time that we went 3 games without putting a touchdown on the board. Actually, in 13 quarters, and of course we're a week away, which I got to believe, or 2 weeks away, close to 2 weeks, that it'll end when the Jets show up. But there's no guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. I think the Jets, they have their issues as well. And the Redskins, coming off a bye, kind of like the chances. And, Bill Callahan would not announce formally the starting quarterback for that Jets game at the podium on Monday. He has his Monday press conference, and he was asked 5 times the same question. And it got very redundant, and he stayed with his guns. But I would think that the decision would be to start Dwayne. There would be no reason. He didn't do anything that would have cost him the opportunity, I believe, to start this next game.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I feel about Larry. He showed enough and enough promise there that, and what he really showed was that he needs more of exactly what he did. He needs more reps during a regular season NFL game. And in all honesty, I mean, and I mean no disrespect to anybody here, but the chances are pretty remote, I would guess, that Bill Callahan is going to be the next head coach of the Washington Redskins come 2020. I think that's somebody to be named later. And the reason I bring that up is, Coach Callahan can be, can say, well, I haven't made my mind up, and he can be ambiguous and do all this stuff. But ultimately, I mean, this is one of those moments when this isn't entirely his decision, I don't think, because now you're talking about, a guy that's a lame duck coach. Why would you put that kind of responsibility in his lap to figure out, chart your future when really it belongs in the other people have to discuss this and see what's going to be best in their opinion, of how this franchise is going to come out of this, season where you're going to end up with a real high draft pick. So I really kind of think that Coach Callahan, obviously he's the head coach, but I think that, that he should be getting input from other folks as to who's going to be the starter. And if I was giving him input, I'd say don't even think about going with anybody but Dwayne Haskins. I mean, he's got to be your guy, thick or thin.
It's the logical choice. And, again, go back to training camp. I've said this a zillion times. You go back to training camp, you thought it was a 3-quarterback race, and then Colt was eliminated from that because he was injured. Case was signed prior to the draft of Dwayne Haskins as the replacement for Alex Smith this year. And I think the team thought that the formula that was used last year, the way the team evolved, especially when Alex was here, ball control, mistake-free offense, good defense, win close games, and they were 6-3 at that point. Maybe that was a miscalculation, but at that point you draft Dwayne Haskins, and now you've added him to the dynamic because he was there. He's a good quarterback sitting right there. Found he's your future. And then you get to the regular season, and obviously you get into the season. I think conventional wisdom would have been, this is Case Keenum's job until something happens. And the something that would have happened would have been either injury or poor performance. So it's Dwayne Haskins Jr., in my opinion, his job the rest of the way. But, for whatever reason, the coach did not formally announce it. I think he's just,
Well, there's a little bit. At the same time, he doesn't want to give away anything to the New York Jets. I mean, I learned this years ago that coaches are real. If they can hold out the little air of mystery about who's going to be the starter at any given position, they do it as much as they can, and that's what Bill Callahan's probably doing right now. What they call gamesmanship, I guess. The only thing I would add to that is with Dwayne Haskins, unless he. And this clearly isn't the case. You heard a lot of his teammates complimenting him about his poise in the huddle.
Yep.
A thing that maybe some people thought that he was going to stumble around with or whatever. And that's a great sign because unless because like you said, I think this is Dwayne Haskins' team from here on out. Unless he goes into a huddle and the people in that huddle have no confidence in him because he's played so poorly. And, obviously it's not a matter of, at the point where you have basically where they feel we have no chance to win with this guy, you got to keep playing him. And I don't think that's going to happen personally. I think he's going to keep, and if you start him, if you keep playing him, you've got 7 more games to play. If you start playing him now, you start him off against the Jets. They've got a so-so defense, not a bad place to get more experience. But I think you're going to see steady improvement from Dwayne Haskins. And all of a sudden you get into this whole deal about, if you got a high draft pick this year, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, it sounds like the players do respect his ability and his leadership. And, of course, they call it the field general, John. The quarterback is the field general. He's supposed to be the leader. In your day, did you have any quarterback come in the huddle? Joe was a very strong personality, obviously. Joe is a leader.
Namath.
Joe Theismann and Namath. Well,
I was used, 2 quarterbacks named Joe.
It's true, but I think both of them had leadership ability.
Yes.
Did you ever get into a huddle where you said, man, this guy doesn't know what he's doing? Not only maybe he's not playing well, but he doesn't know what he's doing. I have no confidence in this guy being a leader of this huddle. You ever been in that position?
I can't say that I have, but I've come where you had a rookie quarterback having to come in as when I was with the Jets, but he was I liked him. As a person, so you was wanting him to do the best. And interestingly enough, it was a game that it ended up that, I don't know, it wasn't necessarily me, but the coaches probably felt like we got to limit it. I think he threw 4 passes in this game. And Emerson Boozer and I, we ran, he just handed off the ball. That's all he did for the rest of the game. Well, so somebody might have thought that. I didn't personally.
He got some experience.
Yes, he did.
Hey, folks, helping people improve their lives is what should drive business. That's the belief of Koch Industries, which employs more than 65,000 people across America. The team at Koch works together to meet the world's changing needs in transportation, medical care, water filtration, household goods, energy-efficient building products, and everyday technologies, all while consuming fewer resources. See the innovations firsthand at kochindustries.com. Every touchdown is a gift.
We know that.
Wow. How about that? Who wrote this, Stevie? This is for the Virginia Lottery. What a great line for this edition of the podcast. Every touchdown is a gift. What's another great gift? Virginia Lottery holiday games. Everyone loves getting a chance to win during the holiday season, and the lottery's lineup of holiday games has something for every budget and adult on your holiday shopping lists. Give the gift of Virginia Lottery holiday games and put some points on the scoreboard in the hearts of your family and friends. And bring your team to cheer on the Redskins in person, plan your next company outing, gathering a family and friends, holiday or birthday party with the Redskins. Visit redskins.com/group tickets or call or text 301-276-6033 for more information.
Hey, I'm bored, I'm broke, and I'm back.
Who's bored? Who's broke? And who's back?
I wanted to always see the redwoods. I wanted to see the Rocky Mountains. I wanted to see the Painted Desert, the Petrified Forest, the Grand Canyon. That was like the land that I always wanted to go to.
John Riggins.
All right, Larry. Well, let's take it over to the NFC East. Before we get there, I want to ask you a question. I think a week from today, we go to Fort Belvoir, don't we, to do the show?
Yes, we do. Fort Belvoir. We did it last year.
In conjunction with the USO and the U.S. military.
And the lovely and talented Mrs. Riggins. All the best to her with her appointment to the USO.
Yeah, she's Executive Vice President of the USO. Now, listen, interesting. This is interesting, Larry, of late development. The USO was sending troops to Las Vegas, and she was going to go out there with the troops. Somehow, though, she's been retained and hasn't. She found out officially yesterday she's not going to be able to go because she would. So she's going to be here next Tuesday. So we'll have to get her on the show.
Gosh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
and really,
we can both leave.
Not only to
she'll just take over.
Not only to talk about living with El Riggo, but. Obviously, her work with the USO is very, very important work.
Yes,
it
is.
Great folks, and
she loves doing what she's doing.
And you know, it's great that she got that gig. Elaine Rogers was in that spot, and she was a superstar. And Lisa Marie,
they hit it off from the very first time. I've been doing stuff with the USFO for the last 15 years, I think, close to it. Well, and then over time, obviously, we met Elaine and Lisa Marie. They started hitting it off, and pretty soon there was an opening, and Lisa Marie was considered, and she interviewed for the job, and she was very fortunate because it was something that it was her dream job, basically.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty cool. We're going to be there next week.
Folks.
And
military folks, pretty good folks. There's a few weasels, of course, but that's true in every walk of life. All right, NFC East.
Dallas won, huh?
Dallas won. So they're what they say a half a game. I don't quite get it. Because they've played uneven. I see. They're 5-4 and Philly's 4-4. No,
Dallas is 5-3. And Philly is 5-4.
Oh, that's what
so Philly is yet to have their bye.
Yeah, and they're off this week, right? Philly's on a bye.
Yeah, and the Giants obviously have won
2 games.
2 games.
Yeah, they're 2-6.
And Dallas plays Minnesota.
Dallas plays Minnesota on Sunday.
It's in Dallas.
It's in Dallas.
Wow.
I believe it's Sunday night or Sunday afternoon.
So,
speaking along this. I don't know. Maybe it's me, and I don't know about the other teams. I mean, if you go back to the beginning of the season and you look at where we thought everybody would be, you thought Dallas, you thought Philadelphia, but you didn't. You kind of more or less favored Philadelphia, but I didn't see these teams struggling as much. They're up and down. I thought you'd see. Well, maybe you got a few bumps in the beginning, but once you get the nose of the plane up. You keep gaining altitude, but I don't see that. These teams are going, up and down, up and down.
Listen, when the Redskins played the Cowboys and the game after the Redskins lost to the Cowboys, I thought the Cowboys were a real good football team. It pained me to say it.
Right.
Now, watching them against the Giants, I watched part of that game. They don't look the same.
Exactly.
Oh,
Here's a stat for you.
Yes.
The Cowboys' 5 wins are against teams that combine 9-31.
Yeah, the Bills are the same thing.
Exactly. I was going to say Bills have the same.
They're 9-40. Yeah, which goes to show you, 500 might win the division.
The same Twitter feed.
Yes.
Well, and I agree with that, Larry. I because of just what I said. Philadelphia, Dallas. All right, they're the two. They're in around the turn at the clubhouse. They're the leaders, but boy, I'm telling you what, not by a lot, I don't think. I mean, certainly, the Giants and Washington have fallen well behind. I don't know, can their wheels come off? I don't see that. That's why I still think. But are they really somebody to deal with when you get into the postseason? I don't see it, either one. I don't see the NFC East right now making much noise in the postseason.
And then you look at the NFC Central.
Green Bay just got bounced on their keys.
Green Bay,
with Kansas City,
and then you got San Francisco, who's unbeaten, and they look like a pretty good team.
Yep.
But
They've lost a key Alexander, I think. They've lost a key Quan
Alexander, linebacker. And Kittle almost got hurt severely. He dodged the bullet, but he hurt his knee. He's one of their key guys. Then you look at the AFC, and now with Baltimore emerging in that win over the Patriots, Kansas City wins. They look like they've leveled their ship, and Mahomes
but they've
will come
lost
back.
3.
So, there is no, I think, clear path to the Super Bowl for any team. I guess you got to say San Francisco by virtue of being unbeaten in the NFC, and you still got to kind of handicap the Patriots. But I think people are scared of Lamar Jackson right now.
Well, I think that's an excellent point. You bring that up. I was going to say New Orleans. I think is somebody that you don't want to sleep on New Orleans.
Yeah, I missed that.
And the only reason because you got to talking about this, and all of a sudden I thought of Drew Brees, and I'm thinking, well, they can score some points, and if they get hot during the playoffs, they can be trouble for somebody like a San Francisco. But I'll tell you what, this Lamar Jackson. I'll tell you something. That's an interesting quarterback right there.
Ooh, I mean,
because he almost runs like Barry Sanders when he's got the ball, and he throws the ball pretty doggone well. And clearly, he was up against the New England defense, when it was Sunday night. That my feelings are, weren't they considered one of the best defenses in the entire NFL? And you got one of the best defensive minds in the NFL, Bill Belichick. And they couldn't do much with this guy. They knew going in what they had to deal with, but there's some things you just can't defend. And clearly, Baltimore has a guy that can execute stuff that the league really hasn't seen. I mean, he's even different than Michael Vick, who was very fast, but he's more elusive, I think.
He better stay elusive, though.
Oh, yeah.
If they get their hands on him.
I was going to say, eventually they catch the rabbit. You know that. You know how that turns out.
Not the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd will catch this one.
And having Mark Ingram there really helps him because he's a downhill runner and he can just punish people, and I think that's a good combination for them. Riggo, that's going to do it. I think, we've got a long bye weekend.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to be participating in the Leukemia Lymphoma Society Dancing with the Stars down at the Four Seasons on Saturday. I will be judging the competition.
Not dancing?
No, not dancing. They're going to have to pay me big bucks to dance, okay? I'm doing this gratis because it's Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I could be a professional dancer. Yes, I need to be.
Well,
paid.
Larry used to, I think, wasn't you at Chippendales once upon a time? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm only about 5 pounds over that weight, too,
Yeah, well, I told my wife, I said, I think that Chippendales has a senior division, and I'm going to apply for it.
Oh, that's a good
give it a shot.
That's a good visual for people to sign off with.
Not really. Anyway, we'll hopefully see you next week for episode 52. Thanks for joining us.
Riggo the Diesel is brought to you by ARS Rescue Rooter of Maryland.
Montana has cowboys. Florida has the sunshine. Texas has everything.
Hey, y'all.
Cali has the 405 backup.
Oh, come on.
Kansas has... does anyone know what Kansas has? But Virginia? Virginia has the print and play rolling jackpot, starting at $50K and rolling, where you can win instantly. And the best part? It's by the Virginia Lottery for Virginians. Odds of winning top prize are 1 in 240,000.
Time to tailgate. We have my Honda CR-V with class-leading cargo space, so I can bring the grill. Cousin Bobby's Honda Pilot with seating for 8, and my brother's Honda Ridgeline loaded with fun features like in-bed speakers and an in-bed trunk. Nothing left to do now but sit back and wait for kickoff. Who wants a hot dog?
Get more this season with a great deal on a new Honda, perfect for tailgating. See your local Honda dealer today.
Locally owned Novec has competitive rates and some of the highest customer satisfaction ratings among electric utilities in Virginia. Novec members are receiving more than $4 million in cashback credits in December, and they enjoy the most reliable power in the region. Novec is growing its renewable energy supply, including more solar. Novec, power you can trust.
Is your heating system ready for colder weather? An annual heating system tune-up from ARS Rescue Rooter will help to make sure your system is working properly and efficiently to keep you warm and save money on your heating costs. Schedule your annual heating system tune-up today with ARS for only $29. That's right, only $29. But do it fast. This outstanding special ends soon. ARS Rescue Rooter, Heating and Cooling. Visit arsofmaryland.com. License number is 10647.
Call ARS and Rescue Rooter.
Hi, it's Larry Michael with the Redskins Park Update. The rest of this week going to be quiet here at Redskins Park. A practice on Wednesday, then off for the bye week. 4 days off for the football team, their longest break since reporting to training camp at the end of July. Next up for the Redskins, Sunday the 17th of November, the annual Salute to Service game as the New York Jets visit FedEx Field. And something very special for us, doing the Redskins podcast, Riggo the Diesel, 26 Minutes with CP, and the Chris Cooley Show, all originating from Fort Belvoir at the USO Metro Center in honor of Military Appreciation Month and week. Looking forward to getting on the base and seeing some of the troops. That's going to do it for this Redskins Park update.